So, greetings everyone. On behalf of the Biology Society, I, Kimi Joshi, a core member, extend my warm welcome to all the attendees for the webinar on GATE exam preparation. The Biology Society, or TBS, is a global student community that aims to provide a common platform for all the biology enthusiasts. Our members are engaged in various biology-related activities and events. To know more about our society, you may check out our website, and to join our society, you may fill a membership form. If any of you are interested to talk about a topic of your interest or present a webinar, kindly register as a speaker. All of these links will be put up shortly in the chat box. I would now take this opportunity to introduce our speaker for today, Mr. Indermeet Singh Bakshi. He has pursued BTech in Biotechnology from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University. He is a university gold medalist with a CGPA of 9.49 on a scale of 10. He also specializes in various bioanalytical techniques such as PCR, RT-PCR, northern, southern, and western blotting, fish, animal cell culturing techniques, and many more. He's also well-versed with multiple softwares too. Apart from all of these achievements, he has done a research titled Environmental Factors Associated with Preterm Birth in Women of North India and Central Nepal. This was recognized as the best abstract in an international conference in 2019 by the WHO. And he's also done a final year project on comparative study of beta thalassemia molecular markers. In accordance with our topic today, I would like to state that our speaker has excelled in the GATE examinations with an All India rank of 1 in GATE BT with a perfect score of 1000 and an All India rank of 9 in GATE XL. It is an immense honor to have you amongst us, sir. The audience can now post their questions in the chat box, which will be addressed at the end of the webinar. Without much delay, I would like to hand over the stage to Mr. Indermeet.
Thanks for the warm welcome, everyone. So, firstly, I would like to congratulate you for organizing such a great society. I went through the LinkedIn page and it's really amazing. So, congrats for that. And now, telling about myself, like I am Indermeet Singh, as she told, and I gave the GATE exam this year in 2021, the last exam, and I got an All India rank 1 in biotechnology. Also, I got an All India rank 19 in the life sciences stream. So these two are the branches that I appeared for. And apart from that, like I have a background, I have did a bachelor's in technology like BTech from APJ Abdul Kalam University, which is in Lucknow. So it's a private college under this university. So I am from a BTech background, and therefore during the final year I decided, so let's give it a try for the GATE exam. So it went well, and all the work that I did, all the stuff that I prepared for it came out in a nice way. So this session is basically aimed at like if any people who are like aiming to give the GATE examination. So I hope I can be of some motivation and some help to them. Also, it can be also beneficial to other people who are not willing to give GATE exam but are trying to appear for other exams in our stream. So like I am not sure like what the questions are, but I will hope so that I could address it like in a meaningful way. So also like one of the major questions that I've always been asked is like, how did you come for biotechnology? Like why biotechnology? So most of the people like in the biotechnology background believe that they have come from a failure in NEET exam or some other exam. Like even myself, like I gave the NEET exam in like the 12th standard and I was not good at studies, to be very honest. So I did really bad and I got an all India rank of some 30,000 or so. So that landed me up with a choice to go for engineering in some branch. So I had maths in plus 2 as well. So I thought that I should go for computer science engineering because it's a phenomena in India to just follow the people what they are doing. So everyone suggested me to go for computer science engineering, and in that I also went for that computer science engineering in a college. So once I reached there, and I think it was September or October or so, and like then I figured out that it's not my cup of tea, definitely. So it was a tough stream to be a part of. Like I hope there are some coders here who would not agree to me, so I'm really sorry. But yeah, it's a very tough stream to be a part of. So once I went there, and I did not understand what coding is about. I thought that it's not my cup of tea, so I decided to leave. So I took a drop. It was a time where I was very low, and because like obviously I was not a good student always, and my friends cleared the exam, the NEET exam, and obviously like someone who is like in the path of becoming a doctor, they always see that their friends like there's a competition, always a healthy competition. So when you see your friends and the students who are aside you and who are succeeding in certain examinations, you also feel like that it would have been great if you had been at the side and you would also had landed up in a college. But that things were way past before, and so I left it and I came back home, and like I was very stressed out what to do and what not to. So I went to a college that is in my hometown. So I decided to join a particular college. So when I went there for admission, so I was having maths as well as bio. So the teacher there, the counselor who was sitting there, she told me that in Indermeet you should go for biotechnology. And to be very very honest, I did not know what biotechnology was. So even in the 12th I studied biology, but it was not one of my favorite subjects. So maths had always been like right in the middle of my heart. So I liked it a lot. So I was always a maths kind of a person, not a biology kind of a person. So she insisted me to just go back home, just do your homework, just look at this particular thing, what biotechnology is. She referred to me a couple of websites that could let me know what it is, understand it. So, and I was like, I just inquired them, is it possible that I can change the stream after a year or so if I'm not comfortable, if I'm not finding myself good in computer science, in biotechnology. So she said that, yes, you can definitely switch. So right there it was starting, and I joined biotechnology as in BTech in biotechnology at this college. So as the year passed, so everything was going fine, and I was like dedicated to do some studies because obviously there was a failure behind me and everyone was looking down at me, and my friends were already past me. So I knew that I had to do something. So I started studying, and I thought that I should like now be sincere towards studies. So I started studying, and like if the first year went well, I was the topper in the first year. So then I decided like, now what next? So then came the second year, and I got in touch with a few professors of the department, and like they suggested me that these are the couple of books. And I still remember like he told me one genetics book, Peter Russell, if I'm not wrong. So he told me that you go and read from Russell, and I was not even sure what genetics was. So because all these studies that I did in 12th, I forgot it very easily. So I remember asking my teacher in a funny way that, sir, I don't even know what is a gene. I don't know what is the definition of a gene. So he said that don't worry, I am sure that you can read it and grab certain things from it from the book, and it's a nice book. You go and just read. So I went back home. I digged into Leninger and also that Peter Russell, and like I thought that this is something that is like literally amazing, and I should pursue it. Moreover, then came a time in the third year when everyone was worried about like what would happen in the fourth year. I hope like most of the people here would be also thinking that what would happen in the final years, what are the placements in biotechnology and stuff. So I was like also surrounded by these sort of questions. Like there are not many seniors who are getting placements in the core companies. The scenario of biotechnology is not good in a particular country, and so and so and so on and so forth. So I thought that let's keep it aside. Let's see what happens. I continued reading books and stuff, and then someone suggested me that there's a senior of our college, like who got a rank 10, I think, in All India Exam Gate. So, do you have any ideas? If you do, you have any plans for it? So I said, there's nothing bad in giving it a try, and I have certain concepts now. I love reading books about biotechnology, so I continued reading the books. And then during the third year, towards the end of the third year, I started that let's go for gate now and let's focus myself towards that. So from there on, I focused my studies towards the gate examination specifically, and like it was around 9 to 10 months, and COVID was there, so that was a plus point in for me. So I started preparing, and for 10 months or so, I prepared like wholeheartedly, 10 hours a day, or even more during the last time. So eventually, everything went well. I gave the exam, and I was not sure what I will get, but as soon as I came out of the examination center, I was sure that I was getting an All India rank under 10, because the paper was pretty tough, I think, uh, and I did pretty well in my terms. So I know that I was getting a good rank, but still there were certain elements of doubts in my mind. So then I like as the month passed or so, and like answer sheets came around, and like I checked the answers, and I got to know that I'm getting around 70 plus marks. So that was like a milestone for me. So I thought that I would be getting under 5 rank, and eventually, as the final answer sheets came, the modified, updated answer sheets came, I was getting 75. So everything went well, but I was even more surprised by the Excel result, that is the life sciences result, because that was something that I just filled in the form and I said that since they are giving us a couple of chances this year, so why not just why to waste that chance? So let's try something. So I went for it, although I did not prepare anything. I did not read chemistry, and chemistry I don't like very much. So it's something that is like I will keep at the bottom of the list of my to-do list. So I did not read chemistry at all, and there were certain subjects which were common in biotechnology and life sciences. So I said that I've prepared for biotechnology, so why not go for life sciences as well? So as time passed, so eventually the exams were on the same day, like as they are this year. So these were on the same day last year also. So in the morning there was biotechnology paper, and I was prepared for it. So the biotechnology paper went very well. So I was like, let's go back home, and it went well. So I don't need to give the Excel exam. But then I was like, I have come so far, so it's been a 20-kilometer ride from my home to the center. So let's stay back and wait for 3 hours and then give the second exam. I still remember that my back was aching pretty much like in the examination. It was a tough day. It was a long, long day. So I just gave the exam and I finished it in an hour or so. I didn't even recheck it, like what answers did I mark. I don't know what concepts I put in the questions. How did I solve it? Apti also I don't know. I don't remember how did I do it. But eventually, like I finished it in an hour and I got it to a nice sleep there. And eventually, someone woke me up then later and said the exam is over, so you can leave. So when I came back, I did not check even the Excel answer sheet. And when the final days, like 5 days before the result, I checked the answer keys and I was getting good score in it even. And eventually, I got 19 rank, which in my opinion, like is nothing bad in it without studying. So I would grab the opportunity with both hands. So this is how it happened. So the moral of the story is not like you can go for gate, you can get a good rank, you can do studies and stuff. The moral of the story is from computer science to biotechnology to gate exam to AIR1. So it's not really easy, I can say, but it's something that anyone can do and anyone can achieve it. Because I have done, and I'm not a bright student. Like I'm sure that I have read about the Christ University and also the other universities the students are a part of. And so I hope so, like everyone is like good in their own thing. So I know that people are very bright, and if I can do it, everyone can do it. So that's the particular thing that I would like to suggest everyone, that whatever their goal is, like whether it be some cat exam like MBA or gate exam or like CSIR or anything. So keeping aside what people say about the particular opportunities of the particular stream in India, you go for it. If you feel like you like the particular stream, you should go for it. So that's something that I would like to say. So also talking about the preparation phase, yeah, that's the toughest time, and that's something that requires a lot of discipline. I remember like my college is a private college sort of a thing. So it's a private college that is affiliated to a government university. So I remember I went to the libraries during lunch periods, and I used to study in the bus while in the route to the from my home to that of the college, and from the college back to home. So everyone was like, why are you studying? There's no need. So what will you do? In university exams, what we used to do is that you fill in pages and you will get marks. So what everyone did is that they used to study a couple of days before exams and they got good grades. And good grades means like they easily got 85% and plus. So everyone said to me, why are you studying? So what's the point of studying and sort of those things? And like I was like, no issues. I want to gain knowledge of the particular thing. I am liking this particular stuff. So let's see where it is headed. So this is how it happened. And preparation is like it requires a lot of disciplines. Like I also skipped certain days. I skipped eventually most of the days, I think. So I studied for a few days and then skipped for a couple of days and then again studied. So it was a hit and trial sort of a thing. I didn't knew what to do, what not to. But eventually everything went well, and I think that everyone should have this particular belief in themselves that they can achieve that. And I hope so that everyone will definitely get a good rank. So yeah. So apart from this, anyone if is having any doubts, like I would be happy to answer also. Yeah. So it's better to have interaction rather than like me talking all the way through.
Yeah, participants can feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question directly to Sir. If not, then you can also put it in the chat box. We will read it out for Sir. Meanwhile, I think we can take the form question. What are the opportunities that you will be getting after clearing the exams?
Yeah, talking about opportunities, there are quite a few routes after that where you can head to after having a GATE scorecard in your hand. So certainly a good route in India is to join some IIT and go for masters or even a doctoral directly. So if you are BTech, so then you can directly go for PhD like I have joined. Also, MTech is also a good opportunity to have. So MTech is also good here. So apart from that, you can also go for MS. So it depends on what do you want to do. Like if you want to go for research, so there are a couple of things. You can either stay back in India for your MS and then go abroad for PhD. So MS research program, it's present in a couple of IITs like Delhi and Madras. So the MS program is good, but it has no defined duration. So it can take around a couple of years to around 3 or 3.5 years. But the rewards are like good because like you get a good exposure because IITs are really doing a good work. Like it's not like the colleges, normal engineering colleges in India where you just get to know the techniques. So they are doing the real ground level research, and I think they are doing pretty good as of now. So going to IIT is definitely one of the choices that everyone has. Apart from that, you can also apply for NUS Singapore. So NUS is National University of Singapore, and also there is another university, NTU, the Nanyang Technical University in Singapore. So these two universities and a couple of universities in Germany. So these four universities take students through GATE as well. So if you have a valid GATE scorecard, you don't have to give the GRE exam or any other exam. You just have to give an basic English level exam like IELTS or TOEFL. So having a good score in that, it will land you up there. So these are universities which are under 15 all over the world. So these are also amazing universities, and so you can always go there also. Apart from this, talking about the jobs perspective, so I don't think that jobs are much fruitful in our stream, but yeah, again, having a GATE scorecard is always a plus point. So if you have a GATE scorecard, you always will get a better job as compared to your colleagues who are not having that. So there's no harm in it, and if you want to go for a job, even that is also good. So you can apply for various companies in biotechnology. You will easily get up a job, like because that's a testimonial to your skills that you possess. So these all are the options that you can go for.
We have another question from the firm. So do you have any tips for good scoring in the exam?
Yeah, so there is no ready-made cocktail to achieve such a good score or like a good score. But what I believe is that there's a perseverance sort of a thing. You need to be very much motivated and disciplined and also very focused towards your goal. Because like in BTech, what happens are like even in many bachelors in college life, what happens is that we feel like let's go and party around and like do stuff. So like definitely you can do it, but like on a limited basis. So it should in no way compromise your studies. So what I did was that I used to study for like around 4 to 5 hours daily, even after college, like keeping aside the college. So I used to study for 4 to 5 hours daily. And once the COVID was imposed and it was like around 10 hours, I increased it to 10 hours. And during the last month or so, I gave it around 12 to 13 and likewise. So it's not about the hours, it's about the time that you give and the sincere time that you give. It's not about just giving and putting in hours, it's about giving the doing it seriously, because I am a person who always studies along with phone, so I'm always online. So if I'm studying, I'm devoting, if I'm saying I'm giving 10 hours, it means that I'm eventually giving like 7 or 8 hours because I'm spending a couple of hours on phone. So if you can avoid the distractions in your life and you are pretty much focused to achieve your goals, then definitely you can do it. Apart from that, you can go for, I always prefer reading reference books because there are many shortcuts like coachings and various other institutes that you can opt for. But like that's always when you have time constraints in mind, like when you have 5 months in your hand or 6 months in your hand, then you can definitely join it. No disregards to the coaching, but I believe the amount of knowledge that you gain by self-study is far more as compared to that you gain from a coaching. So in the case of self-study, you should go for reference books if you have time. And if not, then you can go for certain publication books which have the entire syllabus covered. So reading the reference books will give a definite advantage that you will get the answers of the particular questions that have never been asked before in the past 10 years or 20 years or like so. That's a plus point that's the advantage that I got by reading the reference book. I was able to answer certain questions that were not a part of the previous year papers. So that's what distinguishes you to get a good rank and that to get a splendid rank. So like if you're getting a good rank, so that's where the difference lies. So this is something that I would like to suggest. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'm aware of your research project, which was recognized by WHO. How can you shed some light about it? Also, how were you inspired, and what was the procedure like?
Yeah. So actually what happened in, I was in second year or so during the fourth semester. So there was a senior in my college and he was affiliated to WHO. So South Asia region, Southeast Asia region. So he told me about a project that he and a certain guy from IIT Delhi, they were a part of a certain project that was funded by the World Health Organization. And it was not a typical wet lab project or a dry lab project, you can say. It was something of a survey sort of a thing. So what we tried to do is that we tried to get the samples and the information. We designed a questionnaire for the various patients, and with the due consent of the patients, we tried to analyze like what are the exploitation that they went through during the pregnancies, the women. So we tried to identify only in the case of the women who gave birth to the preterm babies. Like preterm is like 37 weeks or less than 37 weeks of pregnancies. So we try to understand what are the social factors, what are the emotional factors that are linked to preterm births. And because like obviously if we are having a certain genotype that is giving rise to a particular disease, it is not always necessary. Like for example, if I'm having a gene that has a certain mutation that can cause a cancer, so it is not a full proof that you will always get a cancer. So there is certain environmental factors that is always associated with a particular genotype that would lead to a particular phenotype. So that was the idea behind it. We wanted to know about what are the environmental factors that are associated with the preterm birth. And of lately, we identified that there were certainly a few factors, like all the women who went for the in vitro fertilizations, and in vitro fertilizations led to a preterm birth, and also certain were smokers, certain were drinkers, because the backward areas of Delhi, and like we got samples from various hospitals also. So these were the certain factors that we figured out, and the broader goal was to get the understanding of what a bench research is. It's not always about a wet lab project or to do certain things with bacteria or various organisms. So sometimes certain things you can do which can make a big impact in a certain way. So eventually we got that project. We just filed a paper, and we just after presented in an international conference, and eventually the WHO recognized us as the best abstracts. We got an award for it.
Okay, we have another question a little related to that. What's the procedure to get affiliated with WHO for research work?
Yeah, to be honest, even I don't know much about it. You can go at their websites, and there are certain individual. You can put forward a research proposal, and you can send it to them. If they find it worthy enough, they will just give you a funding, and they will talk to your college, like the HOD and the various other academic persons, related persons. So this is the particular way. Or other ways to get in touch with the people who are already affiliated to WHO and doing research. So if you can get a part of you, if you can just collaborate with them and be a part of them, and then it's also good, because I choose the second way around. Because like getting the filing a research proposal, because obviously we in bachelors don't have enough understanding of how the research is done, and those people who are screening your applications are already this good scientists, and they know what the intricacies of research are. So you will file a research proposal. So it might be possible that you file an amazing research proposal. On the other hand, the greater chances are that you will not be able to frame a research proposal that is in concordance with the work that scientists do. So it's better to get in touch with the scientists who are already affiliated to WHO, and then ask for collaborations with them if you can get a training under them or something of that sort. So that's a good way.
Sir, I actually had a question about the GATE examinations. So
Yeah.
for these examinations, if you could tell that where all is it internationally recognized, and where all would it help in getting a job? Because there are a few continents that do not recognize certain examinations. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, so GATE is to be speaking very honestly, so GATE is an examination that is recognized in India only. So you won't get much recognition outside India. Although if you get a good rank, you can say that you have a rank of 10 or 15 among like 20,000 students. So that will enhance your resume. But just by the GATE examination scorecard, you won't get a decent like university abroad. On the other hand, NUS, NTU, as I mentioned, and a couple of German universities, these universities are just like world-class universities. Like even certainly these are better than IITs also. Like no disregards to IITs, but these are good as well. So these are the certain universities where you won't require GRE or any other exam. So yeah, so this is something that you can target. And in India, you're talking about job aspects. So I have a few friends who did not do very well in GATE, but they qualified it instead. So even the qualifying, even the scorecard that they received, the scorecard comes for only those students who have qualified it. So even the students who received the scorecard who have qualified it, so they landed up in a job easily. Although it is not a very highly paid job, but yeah, they can easily get jobs in pharma companies and food companies and bioprocess related companies. So these are the certain options that are open. Also, like I got to know by a professor recently, like during my interviews, I was in touch with a professor at IISc, and he told me that they are also starting the MS program next year. I hope so. They're starting this year or the next year, most probably this year only. So that would be one hell of a program. So if you are interested in research, so MS from IISc is like the best, because IISc in research is the best institute around the world. So you can also go for that particular route.
Also, sir, we have another question asking what are the last minute topics that are a must to go through for the exam?
Yeah, so what I personally did was that I was a part of a lot of Telegram groups and WhatsApp groups which were directed towards preparation of GATE and various other competitive exams. I'm sure you must also be there. So during the last week or so, I just stopped using a Telegram, because the problem here is if you will use the Telegram, you will eventually come across certain questions that you're not good at, because no one can answer all the questions. And that certainly mounts up to the pressure that is already on your head. So it feels like that you don't know a particular answer and you feel like just running behind it. What happens if that particular question comes in the final exam? What if a similar question comes? What if I don't know the concept of this? So it's fine how much you have prepared. You have already prepared. It's better not to read anything new. So I have personally focused on only the things which I already read. So I revised it at least twice or thrice in the last week or so. So entire syllabus. Also, the specific thing that I did on the last day before the exam, I did not read anything new. I did not revise anything, but I made a particular notebook during my entire preparation in which I wrote all the questions, which were the questions which I was not able to answer in the first crack. So I was not able to solve them in the first go, and these were the questions which I felt like these are good conceptual questions which are outside my capability at that particular moment when I solved them. So I wrote all of those questions in a notebook, and I never opened that notebook to study. I only opened it on the last day of the exam, and there were around 250 or 300 questions by then. And during the entire last day, I read all those questions and the answers to all those questions, and I just went in the exam. And hopefully, there were around 5 or 6 questions that were there from the notebook only on similar concepts. So that is a thing that you can do. If you have not prepared certain notebooks, you can always go through the previous year papers, find certain questions which you have not a good hold at. So you can always look at that. But I would suggest not to read new topics. Also, like there are around 7 to 8 days left, so you can always solve one paper or two paper every day of previous year papers. So that would always be beneficial.
Also, sir, we have another question. Can you please give some time management tips while attempting the exam? Which section to go first and how much time to give per question?
Yeah, so I personally believe that I have one of the worst lucks in the history of mankind. So I was always prepared for certain things that I knew that could happen. And I was pretty much bang on this particular thought. And I went into the exam. I was in a good frame of mind. I woke up fresh and I was in a very good frame of mind. And I was determined to solve everything that came my way. So as soon as I logged in, the first question that appeared on my screen and I was blank. I did not know what it was about. I don't even understand from what subject it was. So it was such a question. The second question, I said, so it sometimes happens. It might be just a coincidence. And then I went on to the next question, and it was also like that only in the next question, bioprocess, next question, bioprocess. So then I need to frame a last minute strategy what to do then. So what I did was that I always believe that I'm good at solving that match the following. So one advantage with the match the following questions is that you always have 4 or 5 options, and even if you know answers to a couple of them, you will eventually land up with the option that is there in that you can figure out the answer. So what I did was that I fast forwarded my search for such questions, and I found that there were around 4 or 5 questions in the exam, and I solved them first. So once I was done with the match the following and talking about apti, I left it aside for the last half an hour or so. So initially, I started off with the match the following. Once the match the following were done, then I ran a search through the entire biotechnology section to find for the questions which striked in a single go. Like I can just figure out what the answer was. And there were around, if you are well prepared, if you have gone through all the previous year questions and you know the concepts well, so there would be around 20 to 25 such questions. So I saw the time on the screen; it was an hour or so, and I was able to solve around what say 29 or 30 questions. So I was left with about 25 questions of biotechnology and around 10 questions of aptitude in the last couple of hours. So then I decided to go for the questions which I know I can do, but these are lengthy ones, so I can do them next. So for the next hour or so, I did those questions, and there were around 6 or 7 questions which were left, and then the time was around 35 or 40 minutes on the clock. So I gave a thought about the 5 to 6 questions that were left. So what particular trick is applied in this, and how can I solve this? What out of the box I can think for these? But eventually, I did not find any answers to them, and there were around 25 minutes which were left on the clock, and I was like in a haphazard what to do and what not to. So then I went for apti, and aptitude was like it was a strong part for me, and I knew that I can do very well in aptitude. So I just completed in 20 minutes, and I was left with 5 minutes. And there were 2 things in my mind. So I knew the paper went well, and there were around 5 to 6 questions are always there that you don't know. No matter how much you study, no matter which books you study, no matter how many books you study, you will always find certain questions that you are not good at. And it's better to accept it. So because no one is looking what questions you did and what questions you did not do. So in the last 5 minutes, I thought I should give up, but then I thought that let's give it a try again, let's solve it again and think something out of the box. And eventually, during the last 30 seconds, I was able to find the answer to one question, and which eventually landed out that I marked it right. And during the last 5 minutes, I solved 3 questions. So I left around 3 questions in the entire paper, and I answered most of the questions. And so this was the pattern that I followed. But going by the overall broad overview, you can go for match the following first, and then followed by the easy ones, and then by the lengthy ones, and apti at the last. Also, if you find apti is a good thing to start off, you can always just put the 30 minutes in the starting and just put the 30 minutes from there towards the fag end.
Sir, we have another question. If you could give us some tips for multiple choice questions, as they're confusing at times.
Yeah, so like during my time, like what happened is that there are like 4 days on which the gate examination is scheduled. So during the first weekend, when that couple of gate examinations were conducted and everyone looked at the answers, there were certain coachings that gave the answer sheets and the overviews of how the questions were, and I got to know there were around 5, 6, 7, 8 MSQs in like computer science, and it was new to me as well because I was also not aware, and it was the first time that was introduced last year. So I was not sure what to do, but I knew one thing, that if you are prepared well enough, and MSQs, even if you're not able to do, MSQs are such questions that will just enhance your rank. If you are able to get even a single MSQ right, you are above most of the students who are appearing for it. Because no one has enough mind to answer like MSQs very correctly. I myself there were around 3 or 4 MSQs, if I am not wrong. I did just 2 correct and 2 were wrong. And one I just like gave it a very vague answer. I just marked it. I was not sure enough, and eventually it landed out to be correct. So I was lucky there. But even if you answer a few MSQs, that's good. The basic idea behind MSQ is to check your precise knowledge, how much you have. And I'm sure like most of the students who are appearing for it without any preparation would be behind you. So if you have prepared well, so you don't be worried about the MSQ aspect. And talking about the subjects, it can come from anywhere. Like as I have seen, it came from some subjects which I didn't even expect that this could come from here only. Also, the tips to solve it, go by the concepts, mark the answer always, even if you're not sure. It's because there is no negative marking in MSQs. So you can always mark your answers and mark it like in a way that you are sure about. And let it be. Like, it's not like that what you are thinking is always correct. So even if it goes wrong, no worries, because you will eventually get a few right. So certain MSQs are very easy.
So sir, since you mentioned that it is really tricky to get the right thing, so to what extent should the students be taking risk? As in, is there any negative marking or such in the?
Yeah. In MSQs, there is no negative marking. So that's where the bonus point lies. So you can always mark your answer, no matter if you, even if you don't have any idea for it, you mark your answer. So same thing is applied for the numerical type answers, NAT questions. So in Excel exam, I was not prepared for chemistry, as I told, so I did not attempt it. So there were certain numericals where I put the answers. For example, there was a certain question where they asked how many bonds this particular thing is forming, or something of that sort, how many geometries are possible. So I knew that answer would be an integer. It won't be around 10 or 12. It won't be around 0. So I went with a generalized guess, which was around 3 to 4, and my mark 3. The answer was 4. I was wrong on it. But this is something that you can use your brain and mark any answer, because obviously there is no negative marking. So you can land up with any answer that you believe, like from ranging from 0 to infinity. You can write any particular integer in NATs. So there's no negative marking. Talking about negative marking in MCQs, for MCQs, you must be very sure about it if you are marking it. So it's not always one preliminary mistake that I always used to make in my preparation days was that wherever I saw all of these, I was very tempted to mark it. I didn't even had a look at the other options. I directly marked all of these. The answer must be all of these. So that thing is certainly that you have to avoid, because the examiners who are setting the examination, the question paper, are very much intelligent than us, and they obviously won't always have the answer all of these. So this is a certain mistake that one can avoid. And also, while marking MCQs, you should be very sure of your answers and mark it only if you are sure. We always have this belief that if we mark certain questions, even if we are not sure, so we can mark it and we apply our mathematics to it, that if there are 4 questions and we mark all of them as B or all of them as C, eventually we will get one correct, and the negative marking will balance it out, nullify it. So there is not any harm, and if we are lucky enough, we will get at least 2 correct and we will land up with a positive score. Trust me, like, you will always land up with a negative score if you are going just by the guesses. So there are certain friends of mine who got a score in negative, although they were not prepared, and there is no disregard to them. So but always there is certain risk is associated, and the negative marking in GATE is set in such a way that not everyone will get a correct answer and not everyone will get a positive score. So always refrain from marking the answers. If you don't know it, you don't know it. So it's better not to mark it, even if you have a certain doubt element in your mind.
So, sir, during the preparation time, let's say there is a year left for the examinations to happen. So what would you suggest that should the student do a lot of topics from study material, as in go through research books, maybe like research topics and everything, or should they practice more question papers?
Look, what I particularly did was that I shifted my gears towards the preparation of GATE specifically during March or April, if I'm not wrong. So April, which lands you up with around 10 months or so. So you still have 1 year or so. If you believe that you can cover it up, you can just go for reading the conceptual things first, because bioprocess, as everyone knows, forms an integral part. And bioprocess is not something that you will find good in a particular coaching material or in a particular something of that sort. So you should always refrain to you should always refrain to reference book for that purpose. Like I went for PM Doran in bioprocess. So the subjects that are very much important, which hold a good weightage, which are more likely to come, you should always read them from the reference books. And you can leave certain topics which are not very tough, like say bioinformatics. You can always leave such topics just to read it once from a publications book. So I particularly read Leninger and Doran for this purpose. So if you have 1 year or so left, you can give 3 or 4 months easily to the research books to read in depth about the subjects that are very much integral to the GATE syllabus. And for the other subjects, then you can cover it up entirely from the reference book or from the publication books like Pathfinder or something of that sort. So for the last 10 months, you can focus towards Pathfinder. And talking about the previous year papers, so as soon as you read a topic, I had this habit, like I don't have this habit, but everyone suggested me, and I still suggest other people to follow this. What happens is that when you read a particular topic, your memory is very volatile. So if you read anything today, you will forget it in around a couple of days. So it's like what I read 2 days before, I don't even remember what we have read. So it's better to read any particular topic and solve the previous year questions of the same topic on the same day itself. So in the morning, if you are reading, if you're a night owl, then if you are reading some new topic in the evening, and then you have the entire night to solve the questions of that particular topic that came in the previous year papers. So previous year papers, it's better to start as early as possible. And one of my seniors told me, and I still believe that that's the right thing to do. One of my seniors told me that by the end of your preparation, by the end of the exam, the minimal number of doubts you have in the previous year questions, the better the rank you will get in the final exam. So I personally solved the previous year questions at least thrice or even more times in the test series and various sources, but specifically through the previous year papers, I solved it at least thrice. So the more the number of times you solve it, the more good you get at it, more or less the concepts always repeat. So if you are well prepared for all the previous year questions, I'm sure that you will get a 50 plus score easily in GATE. So previous year questions you should do along with your preparation throughout, like no matter 1 year is left or like how many days are left.
And sir, is coaching beneficial for the preparation of the exam?
Yeah, like it varies from person to person. Like if someone believes that he has enough capability and enough mindset to put his time and be disciplined, what coaching does is that they provide a certain environment to you. For example, if I'm having around 20 candidates who are appearing for GATE alongside me, and I see them studying very wholeheartedly and attending all the classes, is very interactive in the class, you have a certain, no matter how much, we cannot call it jealousy, but it is always there in everyone. You always feel like that person is going to do well, that person is going to do well. So when you have such an environment, you feel motivated to study. So that's a good way to, that's a plus point of coaching. But on the other hand, the coaching basically paralyzes your mind, which I particularly believe. So if you go for coaching, you must be very much aware of this fact that that you are going to read certain materials that is found by certain people, and it is very much confined. So because the coachings are like they do crash courses and like 5 months, 6 months, 10 months, you can say. So you are having an exposure to a very limited amount of a material. So that this is something that you need to understand. Then it's beneficial to join the coaching. Otherwise, if you are just going to read that material and you are going to attend the classes, it is not of very much use. You can get a very much better rank by self-study. So it depends from person to person. But again, yeah, my personal choice was not to go for coaching. It's good to watch a certain YouTube videos from certain coachings if you're not able to understand topics. But again, if you can do it on your own, it's much, much better to do it on your own.
So, sir, if anyone chooses to go for coaching, do you have any suggestions for that person, as in what coaching should they go to, or any?
Yeah, coachings like there are, I have heard of a few, and I joined a test series of certain coachings. I did not join any coaching for preparation. I joined it for the test series only. So there are certain coachings like everyone must be aware of about Pathfinder. So Pathfinder, I don't know how they are teaching, but the test series was fine, like it was decent. Another one was Gate Biotech, which caught my eye, and they are very supportive. I always say that they are the most supportive test series that I've ever taken. It was just for $1,500, and they had this particular clause. You can say that they won't answer the questions or the queries of the doubt or the doubts of the students who are giving the test series. Right. So I mailed them once and I said that this is a particular question from a test series and I'm not able to solve it. So if you can help me out. So he said that you have got good scores in a few exams. So we will be happy to help you out. Also, they provided me with the explanation of that particular question. And in addition to that, they also sent me certain questions of the same concepts to practice. And apart from that, they were also generous enough to just ask me for if you have any other doubts from any other particular material, no matter what the source is, they would be happy to solve. I sent them a few doubts and they solved it, and it really cleared my concept. So I believe that because the faculty is more or less the same, so if you go for GATE Biotech coaching, it's like a win-win situation for you. So that is a good coaching.
Also, sir, you had mentioned that you looked at a few YouTube videos of the coachings. So, do you have any suggestions for those YouTube channels?
Yeah, like I watched videos of just a single subject, bioinformatics, because it's something which I was not able to understand on my own. So I went for it and I watched it through eLearnum. So SLA, previously it was named as SLA, now it's eLearnum, it's known as eLearnum. So I watched the videos of that particular coaching for bioinformatics. Apart from that, Shomu's biology, everyone must be aware, like even for preparing for university exams, we go through the videos of that. So that guy is amazing. So you can have a look at those lectures. And I feel like any content online that you feel like is trustable, it's something that you understand that teaches in a good way, you can always refer to it. There's no harm in having a look, but like it should be trustable source. So I have a watch towards lectures of Shomu's biology, that particular coaching, the eLearner, And apart from that, a couple of lectures here and there, like Khan's Academy and of that sorts. Yeah.
I think we are done with most of the questions. And if there is any further questions from the audience side, you can still put it in the chat box. I think we can have a small photo session now. Kirmi, can you take the photo, please? I request everyone to switch on your cameras for the same. I request everyone to switch on your cameras, please. It'll not take much time. Okay, Kirmi, I think we can take a photo. It's fine.
All right. Okay.
Wait a minute, Kirmi.
Yeah.
People are switch on. I think. Yeah, we can have it.
Okay. All right. I'll be taking the photo now. It's taken.
Thank you, everyone. So we don't have any other question in the chat box. Kirmi, you can go ahead.
Okay, so with this, we come to an end of the question and answer session. So thanks a lot, sir, for taking out time and helping us and telling us the ways and the procedure of how we can excel in the GATE examinations. I also thank all the members, all the attendees for coming and making this event a success. Also, we would now request for you to give us a feedback, any suggestions, any comments, or any appreciation that you guys want to say for this event. You all can give us the feedback in the feedback link that will be put in the chat box. So with this, we come to an end. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.